All right, so now we're going to talk about money. Of course, the part of our job that we hate the most, because it's the part of our role that will allow us to watch students actually achieve the things that they wanted and might have to walk away. But I think if we can do some good training around this, it might help us to make sure that our students are finding really good financially fit schools to avoid that disappointment later. So in your workbook, there are a couple of different things that you can look at. So there is a form that says financial fit and financial aid tips. There's also different opportunities for you to kind of have parties around financial aid, as well as filling out your FAFSA or your CSS profile. And lastly, you have a parent meeting guide. If you are able to meet with student parents, it is an opportunity for you to bring up money. I always tell my students that I know that it might feel difficult, and even for our parents, I know it's difficult to be asked, but knowing what a family can do is super, super important in this process. And really, we can't not know it, because at some point we will, right? When the financial aid package comes back and it's not enough, or the family has to pay more than they thought, it's only going to impact the student. So I think with like proper planning, being like courageous in our conversations, I think all of these things can be helpful. Also, your students have video links that will teach them how to actually fill out the FAFSA as well as a help guide link in order to fill out the CSS profile. The other thing that I do want to mention is that sometimes schools will publish the data. Actually, most schools, it's pretty mandatory at this particular point that they publish how much money they do give to students. So how they publish that is with a phrase called percentage of need met. So percentage of need met is the percentage that a school will meet every single student. So that number can range from 50% to 100%. But the key word that you always want to let students know is it's the percentage of their need that will be met. So it's not the percentage that all students get. So lots of schools will say we're a 100% need met. If a student is wealthy, they don't have a high need, so they're not getting 100% of the tuition met, they're getting 100% of their need that is met. So one of the things that I really encourage you all to do, I would say around August, September, before students finalize their list, is there is something called the FAFSA forecaster. So students and families can go through the FAFSA forecaster to kind of see what their expected family contribution will be. So their EFC is what the government determines a family can afford. That is just the minimum of what they can afford, right? It doesn't mean that the school won't ask them for more, but on an equitable basis, this is what they can afford. So that EFC number will go from 0 up until the eons, right? So let's go back to percentage of need met. I'm gonna give you 2 examples. If a school costs, and I'm just gonna use whole numbers, and forgive my math if it doesn't go the right way, I'm gonna try my best to do this in public, which I normally don't do. So if we have a student or a school that costs $50,000 and they are advertising that they meet 100% of students' need, that means if a student's EFC is 0, that means they can't pay anything, that's the contribution, they can't pay anything, that school will give that student $50,000, okay? Now if that same school has a student that their EFC is $20,000, that means that the need is going to be the tuition minus the contribution that their family can make, which gives them the balance of $30,000. $30,000 is the need of that student to go to that school. So a school will cover that particular school will cover that 100%. So that school is gonna give that family $30,000 for them to go to school, but the family still needs to pay that minimum amount. So these 2 numbers work in tandem, which is why I love the idea of the FAFSA forecaster. When I worked overseas, international students didn't have access to it, but all of our domestic students do. So it's something that you can use often for your students to kind of get a clearer understanding of what it is. So let's look at a different example. So I'm gonna pull out my calculator for this one because we're gonna do some different percentages. All right, so let's do another school. This school costs $50,000. But their percentage of need met is going to be 80%. How do you know what a school's percentage of need met is? Your students already learned this. Legally, what you can do is go to whatever search engine you use. So I use Google. So I can look up University XYZ percentage of need met. It's going to come up. Schools have had a lot of pressure making sure that their financial aid is transparent. So students should not have to figure out like what the percentage of need met is by the time that they've gotten in. They should kind of be able to be in the ballpark even before they apply. So this makes it really equitable, especially for our students who have a high amount of need. So this school is $50,000 and the percentage of need met, let's say it's 80%. So if a student, that same student, their EFC is 0, that means that this school will produce up to 80% of their tuition for need met. So 80% of $50,000 is $40,000. So even though the government knows that this student and their family can afford 0, the school is not committing to covering them 100%. They will commit to covering 80% of their need. So 80% of their need is going to be $40,000, which gives your student a balance of $10,000. Let's do the other student whose EFC was $20,000. So we know how we can clearly understand what the school will give them is we're gonna take $50,000, which is the cost of the school, and we're gonna subtract the $20,000 that they know that their family can afford. They're not committing to 100% of this need, they're committing to 80%. So you subtract 80% of that $30,000 and they're committing to paying $24,000. So that leaves them with a balance of $6,000 that they then need to add to the $20,000 that they were already given. So that family, even though the government says that they can afford 20, the family will be asked to pay $26,000. All right, so percentage of need met is so important, and remember that number scales with EFC. So depending on the EFC will depend on how much money a student gets. So I know a lot of articles will say, oh, we're fully funding 100% of our, our students, and then like in parentheses that have a need of 0, right? So a lot of times students say, well, the school will be free. It's free if it's equitable for that particular family. And so just so you know, I think it's a really important conversation, especially if you do a family meeting with a student or an initial list meeting, to go through every single school line by line and say, okay, what is the possibility that I have to pay? So with that, what you're gonna find is you're gonna get a lot of students who will say, oh, I'm gonna apply for scholarships. So there's a caveat around scholarships as well. So scholarships that pay students directly are really, really, really great. The reason being is because those students could then use the money for the expenses that they need it for. So they can give the money to the school, they can buy books, they could use it for transportation. Those are like really, really good amounts that they can like kind of have to kind of cut the cost. Because remember, there's indirect costs and direct costs. So your students already know through the curriculum that when they're looking at financial aid and the cost of a school, they need to Google the name of the school, University XYZ, plus cost of attendance. So a lot of times schools will give you the direct cost, and that's usually just tuition and room and board. But then there's like $10,000 in like hidden fees, right? And those hidden fees are your indirect costs. Those are like fees, right? Like student fees or transportation or books. We know through data that students will not do well if they don't have the money to buy books. So it's always important that when you're looking at the amount of money, including when families, sometimes I would have families say, oh, we can afford it, right? They want to make it happen. And I'm like, yes, you can, but your kid is going to go to across the country. So that means that they have to go home around 3-4 times a year because dorms close, right? Because I worked on the university side, and a lot of times these dorms are closed and kids had to go home. So are you able to afford all the other things that make students successful? Can they get to campus? Will they have books, right? These are things that make students successful, right? Once they get there, that's just the bare minimum. That's just the starting point. So scholarships, though, you want to be careful with because, for example, my dad worked in the mailroom at a university, and within their union, they were giving for undergrad 75% of the college tuition. So not the cost of attendance, not the room and board, just the tuition. So the tuition check would then go to the university, and then they would actually adjust their amount that they would give me. Because the university still only has to commit to the percentage of need met. So be very, very careful, because a lot of times what students will do is they'll hustle and hustle and hustle, and they'll apply for these scholarships that go directly to a school. But then all of a sudden I remember thinking oh, I'm gonna get a refund check. I had plans for this refund check. And you know what happened? I got an email from the financial aid office saying your financial aid package has been adjusted. So the $10,000 that my dad's job gave me was just taken off of all the things that they gave me, like, the leadership award, or, the athletic award, or whatever it was that was on that list. And so again, just be mindful of how schools work. When it comes to percentage of need met, a lot of times theirs will be the very last dollar. They're gonna take everything else and then give you the last dollar amount. For my folks who are part of Promise programs, as well, you just want to make sure that you're talking to your Promise advisors, how much money is really going to go to the school. Don't assume that just because your school costs $50,000 and you accumulated $60,000 in scholarships that you're actually going to see $10,000. A lot of times these scholarships or the university is last funding basis. So they see everything else and then they will meet their commitment of the percentage of need met. As we mentioned before, October 1st, super important day. It's when your FAFSA goes live. CSS profile will be required for certain students. Your students have a link to that in their workbook where they can kind of see, okay, is my school needing a CSS profile? It's really important for you to know that for many schools now, before a student can actually hit submit on their application, their financial aid needs to be completed. And this is just for various reasons, not just only schools that want to see finances before they can accept, because schools want to say, oh yeah, we want to make sure we can fund everyone that we accept. Sometimes it's just like a paperwork issue, like just getting all the documents. And so just so you know, October 1st, get that in your head. Hopefully your students have it in their head. We'll be sending out tons of stuff to students anyway, emails, our Instagram page, there'll be alerts through the app. So if all hands can be on deck for this, like I said, financial aid is the one thing that really prevents students from reaching their dreams, right? And any support you can give to families, having a financial aid night, facilitating that. You're gonna see a lot of frustration around this with students, understanding where they're coming from, having compassion and empathy, and then figuring out ways to be solution focused is really helpful. And then that's really kind of it as it relates to financial aid. Like I say, your students got the really intensive lesson. We're gonna be doing some extra training around financial aid for advisors coming up into the months for October. So look out in your email for that. But just know that more information is really helpful for students. It helps to minimize the anxiety that's already arising up. College is expensive, right? And one thing I always used to say, whether I was working with students and even in my program with students, I always tell them, hey, your family probably was able to get you everything that you wanted. And even if they couldn't, they really tried, or it felt like something that they wanted to work to do. But this might be something that's just a lot of money. $20,000 might be their entire salary. And so I try to teach students compassion around this because they do depend on their families. Really, it's just a system that doesn't serve really middle class or low income students really well. And even wealthy families are really struggling with the rise of costs. So just remembering that college is so much more expensive than probably many of us who are serving these students how to deal with. We want them to make really good financial choices, right? We don't want them to have a ton of loans. We want them, if they're gonna take out loans, to know what that means long-term, have those conversations, do a little game with them, okay, what do you wanna be? Let's look up the salary. They got links to figure out salary and say, okay, well, if you take out this amount of loans, this is the average amount that you're gonna have to pay back for 10 years. Do you want this salary, minus taxes, minus expenses, where do you wanna live, minus the student loan for 120 months of your life? Right? So just, you don't use fear, you just use information and allow their intellect to make the decision. Because again, we advise, they decide. So good luck with this. It's a sticky subject. Rely on your partners that are there to kind of really reach folks as it relates to financial aid. But at the end of the day, we have to get it done. And so hopefully you feel empowered enough to do so.